Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel Code for Tech Solutions. Today in this video we are going to cover one more important topic, and our today's topic is Java exception handling. So we are going to see everything from start to end related to Java exception handling, and we are going to see Java exception handling mechanism thoroughly, how it works and handle the exceptions in Java. So these are some key points we need to understand the Java exception handling mechanism. So we will first see what is the Java exception handling. In Java, we will go deep into that. We will see some real life problems, how we can map those to the exception handling mechanism in Java. Next, we will see what are the dedicated classes and the hierarchy of classes are there to handle the exceptions. Next, we will see the exact difference in between the errors and exception, which is a critical difference we need to understand. Next, we will see the difference between checked and unchecked exceptions. From interview point, it is most important, as well as in order to understand Java exception handling thoroughly, you need to know the exact difference in between the checked and unchecked exceptions. Next, we will see some real-time examples for error, checked and unchecked exceptions. We will see the practical examples so that you can understand how the exception can be declared, defined and catch or handled in Java. So you will have an idea on that. And finally, the most important thing, we will see topmost Java interview questions and what are the best practice answers we can give. So all those points we are going to cover in this video. So I will request you also, please do not forget to like, subscribe and share before we go ahead. So in our real life scenario, we are dealing with number of problems. Now let me map the real life scenarios. In our real life scenarios, we have number of problems. We can categorize these problems in many different categories. But in this scenario, I can cover only two categories, which are unrecoverable problems and recoverable problems. Now, what is the unrecoverable problems? Unrecoverable problems means if they occur, we cannot continue our work or workflow immediately, or we cannot fix those problems at prompt and we can continue our workflow or our work. Like, so these are the major failures which are unrecoverable. For example, we can consider in our real life scenarios, like our, let's say, uh, our car engine completely fails in the middle of nowhere, or the building loses power due to some major system fault, or the bridge collapses. So these are the major failures which cannot be fixed immediately and we can continue our workflow. So these are some real life scenarios which can indicate the major problems which are unrecoverable. So with this, normal workflow cannot continue reliably. That's why these are unrecoverable problems. Now, what are the recoverable problems? Recoverable problems means like you forgot your wallet and road is blocked, so you can take another route, or you enter the wrong password. So in this scenario, you can immediately fix it. Like you can take your wallet, or you can take the another route if the road is blocked, or you can re-enter the password, and things will keep going. So this means these are recoverable situations wherein your work will still continue after some handling. That's why these are recoverable problems. Now, why I'm telling you? Because I'm going to map these scenarios with the Java exception handling mechanism. Now, in the next slide, I will tell you there are problems in Java language as well. How it has designed, like problems can be considered in two types in Java. One is the system level problems, and another is the application level problems. Now, the system level problems, these are the unrecoverable problems, which means these are the major failures. Our workflow will not be continued as is or reliably. Whereas the application level problems, we can fix them and our workflow will continue as is. Okay, so these system level errors, we can call it as an error in Java, whereas the application level problems, we call it as an exception. So this is how we can map the real life scenarios with the Java exception handling mechanism. Now let me take you to the some more technical terminology. Like we can take an example of some banking. Like in case of system level errors, we can consider, like for example, core banking server crashes, or database completely unavailable, or some data centers outage. So these are the major failures wherein your system goes down and recovery handled by the infra team. So now in this process, whole process, the application cannot safely continue. So these are the major failures, system failures, and we can consider those as an error, wherein your normal workflow will not possible, and these cannot be fixed immediately. So these are the system errors. We call it as an error in Java. Now, what are the exceptions? For example, you enter the wrong OTP, your balance is insufficient, or even or the network timeout while making the payment. Now in this situation you can do some workaround, like you can enter the correct OTP. If you have entered a wrong OTP, if your balance is insufficient, you can withdraw the balance amount which is within the limit of your balance, or you can add some balance and withdraw that. So or you can wait for the network timeout if it is a network timeout. So here in life you can enter, retry, re-enter, or handle the situation gracefully, and the system continues normally. That's why these are the exceptions which can be handled, and our workflow will keep going and continue reliably. So this is how we can map our real life problems with the Java exception handling mechanism.
Now, in order to understand how the exception is handled in Java thoroughly, we first need to understand the object hierarchy in Java. So let us see what are the dedicated classes are there in Java to handle the exceptions. We need to understand the object hierarchy and the dedicated classes which are there in Java. Now, we know that object is the parent class of all the classes in Java. So from this class we inherit all these are the methods which are there. So any class when we create in Java, so we can see these are the methods which are there available. So we don't need to do anything explicitly because these methods are available in object. That's why whenever we create any class in Java, so these methods will get available automatically to our custom class or the class which we create. In short, like we are in all the classes in Java indirectly ultimately inheriting from the object class which is a parent of all classes. Now this is the actual class which is dedicated to handle the error and exception in Java, and it has all these methods which are available for error as well as the exceptions. Now these are some classes, this is the error and this is the exception, which will further extend the throwable class. Now, under the exception, we have categorized checked and unchecked exceptions. So, these are the two exceptions we need to understand under the exception class. This is how the classes hierarchy is there. Now, the important thing you need to understand, throwable is a dedicated class in Java which will handle the error and exceptions. Now, throwable has error and exception, and these are some. Let us see the examples of each one. Like, for example, error, we can see the stack overflow or out of memory error. So, this is an example of the error class. Okay. For checked exception, we can see IO exception and SQL exception. These are the examples of checked exceptions. And unchecked exceptions, these are like null pointer exception and arithmetic exceptions. These are some examples of the unchecked exception. We will further see what is the exact in between the checked and unchecked exceptions in our next slide. Now let us see some practical examples of all these errors, checked and unchecked exceptions, so that you can map it in your mind in a better way. Now first we can see the error example. So this is a class wherein we are trying to create an array, primitive array of integer type with the maximum length of integer size. Like integer is a data type, and we are trying to get the maximum value of integer. So whenever we try to allocate the memory for this variable integer, so it will throw the out of memory error because JVM cannot allocate the required heap space. It is the size which is required to allocate for this variable which is going out of memory. That's why it is throwing out of memory error. So this is one of the example of error. Now let us see the checked exception example. So for checked exception, we have two ways. We can use a try catch block for that, or throws one. Now this is an example for try catch. Like this is the class wherein we have try block, inside which this is the file reader which may throw the exception, and that's why we have catched IO exception here, because uh, this file reader will throw some exception. That's why we need to catch it into the catch block. So this is a try and catch block, how we can handle the exception in Java using the try catch section. Similar way for checked exceptions, we can handle it using the throws clause. Now here we can see we have mentioned that this method throws the IO exception. This is the declaration for this method signature, which indicate that this method is going to throw the IO exception. This is the another way how we can define checked exceptions in our example. Now let us see the checked exceptions. Some key points you need to understand what is the what are the exact checked exceptions in Java. So checked exceptions are checked at compile time. So these are validated at compile time, and we know that at compile time we can figure out these are the checked exceptions. And a developer is forced to handle or declare it, because developer has to fix it or it will not go for running our program, because at compile time it will pop up. So we need to do something fixes or valid or correct it so that we can run our program easily. It represents the recoverable conditions, the conditions which can be recovered. It's not like an error. Now, in short, like if the compiler forces you to handle it, it's a checked exception. This is the short, sweet and short description you can keep in mind, because without fixing that, compiler will not allow you to go ahead. So this is for the checked exceptions. Now let us see the unchecked exceptions. So this is an example of unchecked exception wherein it is throwing the runtime error. So unchecked exceptions, these are the runtime exceptions which will occur at runtime. So for that reason here it will throw the null pointer exception. It will throw the null pointer exception, which is a runtime exception. Now let us see the checked exception. We have seen these key points for the checked exceptions, and for unchecked exceptions we can see unchecked exceptions occur at runtime and are not enforced by the compiler. So checked exceptions we can see we can force the developer to handle it, and those are checked at the compile time. But for unchecked exception, these are the runtime exceptions. That's why compiler will not force you to handle that at compile time. So this is the key difference in between the checked exception and unchecked exceptions. Now let us see some difference in table, like this is then easy, you can catch some key points for all these so that you can map it in your mind. So we have exception class, throwable class, error and object. Now we can see these are some parameters: can catch, should catch or reason. Can catch means it is technically possible, should catch means whether it is recommended to do that, and reason means why it is like that one. So exception we can catch, yes. Is it a recommended? Yes. And reason, it is a recoverable. Okay. Throwable class, can we catch? Technically yes. Should we catch? No. And reason, it includes errors. So because errors are unrecoverable situations, so we should not catch those. Okay. So this is that for catching we should use the catch for exceptions only, and we should not cover the errors. So that's why catching the throwable is not recommended here. What about the errors? Like we can catch, yes. Should can catch, yes. Should catch, no. And these are the JVM level, system level failures. These are the major failures. That's why we should not catch the errors. Now object, can we catch? No. Should catch, no. And why we should not catch? Because these are not the throwable types. Okay, object are not throwable. Throwable is a dedicated class to handle or catch the exception or throw the exception, and all the subclasses throwable and its subclasses are eligible to throw and catch. Okay, so that is the thing. Now this is the important table you should keep in mind, so that you can simply figure out which class can throw and should be recommended to do like that. Now this is the actual object hierarchy we need to keep in mind, like object is at the top, throwable and error exception, and under exception we have checked and unchecked exceptions. Now let us see some interview questions and answers which are getting asked very open in most of the interviews. So let us focus on few important questions and answers. Now can we catch throwable exception, runtime exception or error? So let us see the answer, yes. In Java we can catch anything that is a type of throwable and a subtype of throwable. That we have seen that whichever is a throwable or the subtype of throwable, we can simply catch that. This is technically possible. Let us see what are some recommendations. Like, can we catch exception? Yes, we can catch exception. Can we catch runtime exception? For specific cases, we can catch the runtime exception. That is the case, but not for all the exceptions, all the runtime exceptions. Now, catch catching the error is not recommended and catching the throwable is not recommended. Okay, so these are some points you need to keep in mind. So these are all compile and works fine. Now everything throwable can be caught, but not everything should be caught. So these are the two important lines you should keep in mind in order to understand the throwable and exception difference very well. So you know that everything, technically we can throw everything that is throwable, means throwable class and its subclasses we can throw because and catch. That is possible, but it is not recommended. This line indicates that we should go with the recommended approach. Technically, it is possible because throwable is at the top of error and exception. That means we can catch throwable as well, but it is not recommended in for the business logic in our application code. That you need to keep in mind. Now, catching error and throwable is generally bad practice and not recommended in application code. Throwable should be avoided in business logic. So, specifically speaking, throwable we should not uh, catch for specific business logic in our application code. So, these are very important lines you need to keep in mind because it will exactly figure out the difference in between these two. What is technically possible and what is recommended, you can keep in mind. Next question, important question, what is the difference between checked and unchecked exceptions? Checked exceptions are checked at compile time. This is the major point you need to keep in mind. Compilers forces handling using try, catch or throws. We have seen that the example of try, catch and throws, how we can, how this can be done. IO exception and SQL exception, these are the two one. Unchecked exceptions occur at runtime. This is exactly opposite of the checked exceptions. Checked exception are checked at compile time, whereas unchecked exception occur at runtime. And compiler does not force handling it. For example, null pointer exception, arithmetic exception. If compiler forces handling, that means it is a checked exception. Otherwise, it is unchecked exception. In a layman language, you can understand this one. Now next, what is the difference between throw and throws keyword in Java? Throw is used to actually throw an exception object, whereas throws is used in a method signature to declare the method may pass an exception to the caller. For example, in this method you can see throws is a declaration. Okay, in a method signature we can use throws, which is a declaration, whereas while actually throwing we can use throw keyword. Okay, so action throw is an action, whereas throws is a declaration. This is the main difference you can keep in mind. Now what happens if return is written in both try and finally blocks? Like this is an example, we have written return statement inside try block as well as a finally block. Now which will get executed? So that is the main question. So eventually finally block will win. Why? Because actually the return in finally suppresses or overrides the earlier return. So even if we write return multiple times in a try or in a try block, so that will not get counted. Eventually the return in finally will override or suppress the return in a try block. So this is the impact, like eventually finally return in finally win the game. So this is the straightforward answer you should keep in mind. Next question, can we have try without catch? So technically we can write try without catch, but only if finally is present. Like in short, like you can keep in mind, you cannot write try like this one without catch or finally. So you should at least write a try block with it followed by at least one catch or finally. So either should be present, either there should be a catch block or final block followed by the try block. That is the case you need to keep in mind. I hope you must have enjoyed this video. Please do not forget to like, subscribe and share. Thank you so much for watching this.